let me first say, I strongly believe in free enterprise. I strongly believe in democracy. What I definitely don't believe is the stock market is by any means a healthy institution for a democracy. In fact, it defies democracy. Whenever we try to make the assumption that there's some kind of direct correlation between capitalism, meaning the stock, in this case, the stock market, and how we capitalize companies, have anything to do with democracy, it's a joke. The reality is it's a gambling system for those who control the purses of the country. I want you to listen to this because, Truth Central, I think the DJT stock, that's a symbol of Trump stock. I think it's the best thing that we could use to show the fraud that is the stock market, and in that regards, all economic systems that are based on this particular type of institution. And the reason why is it shows that it can create the inference of wealth. But not only that, in the process of doing that, we see that it really means nothing. And in fact, likely for the first time for all eyes to see, it's how a president can be purchased. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Donald Trump's social media company traded on the NASDAQ for the first time yesterday. The stock for the parent company of Truth Social rose about 16% in its first day of trading, giving the company a market value close to $8 billion. Trump's 60% stake is worth about $4.6 billion on paper. Joining us now, NBC News senior business analyst and host of the 11th Hour, Stephanie Ruhle. So, Steph, can he somehow dip into all that to pay his legal bills, or is it not that simple?
It's not that simple, but he could make a ton of money off of this, Mika, right? He owns over 60% of this company, and right now it is all on paper, but you have the stock soaring. He can't sell his position for 6 months, but he can get a waiver and sell earlier, and that waiver might not be that difficult to get because his son and a bunch of his closest allies are on the board of the company. So you could actually see Trump monetize this. Now, where this thing is trading and the actual real value of this company are a zillion miles away from one another, right? You know, we've been saying it for days. They brought in about $3.5 million in ad revenue and lost tens of millions of dollars, right? They make less money than your average single operated cheesecake factory. However, it's trading at a really high valuation. You could see the company issue new shares, pay out dividends, and Trump could actually end up getting paid a whole lot of money here.
So, John Heilemann, there are people out there, Democrats mostly, who think, man, Donald Trump just keeps getting away with it. And this is a moment where he's in real financial straits and voila, a lifeline seems to emerge, perhaps allowing him to get away with it. And it occurs, as Steph and I were talking here off camera a moment ago, this would be a pretty convenient way for someone who is trying to invest in the next president or try to make an off-the-books donation to Trump World. Well, you can do it through this company. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, Steph knows a lot about the markets than I do. I will say we have people talk about the stock market as being the best reflection of the, quote, wisdom of crowds. You look at this and you have to wonder whether there's any truth to that whatsoever. This does not seem to reflect any wisdom, and I'm not sure it really reflects much of a crowd either. But Steph, I think whatever you and Lemire were talking about off camera seems like the reality here. This is a political hedge, right? For if you're a Trump friend, this is a way to do a kind of donation potentially to Trump. The board will, I would imagine, easily allow him the waiver that you were talking about before, given the way the board is stacked. But on top of that, if you're an ordinary investor or a Wall Street investor, are you not here just putting some money in Truth Social, which could be a very valuable company if Donald Trump is elected president in November, and suddenly you have a favored company in the social media sphere by the president, who will almost certainly not divest himself of any ownership. You suddenly got state media going here. That could be a very valuable investment. However, if Trump loses in November, man, I would not want to be sitting in the stock on Truth Social the day after Joe Biden beats him if that happens.
Yes, but I would say that it's twofold, John. You've got one crowd buying up this stock, and these are the meme stock boys, right? These are the Wall Street bets traders that flooded the market in 2019. All those bros on Reddit who are going to, take this thing to the moon. They could absolutely lose their shirts, along with people who are, pledging their loyalty to Donald Trump, the same people who are buying the sneakers and the Bible, who know it's a grift and they love it. Then there is this group of really smart Wall Street financiers, not your traditional investors that look at the fundamentals and say, I'm not going for this, but this is basically an options bet. Right? If you're this guy who's been in the news for the last week, Jeff Yass, a huge Republican donor, he's co-founder of Susquehanna, an investment firm in Pennsylvania. He's the richest guy in the state. He's a huge investor in ByteDance, which is TikTok. Yeah, it makes sense as an options trader to buy this call option on a potential next president. You're still hedged, and guess what? If this works, this is great for you. It's an unregulated donation, and you've got the president, the potential future president, under your thumb.
I hope you understand this. The reality is the wealth created by that stock, DJT, for Donald Trump in this short term that he could capitalize on if he can sell it without the stock crashing. Actually, if he sells it, some rich person that wants favors, if they believe he can offer it, will keep that price up. Remember, the price is valued at whatever somebody is willing to buy it for. And this is a backdoor way to fund Donald Trump, to pay Donald Trump off for whatever services he's going to render you without it having to look like a bribe, but it is nothing more than a bribe. Folks, the system, we've been speaking about the stock market and all these institutions being legalized fraud. I think DJT should be the example that illustrates that this entire economic system based on a stock market is nothing but a fraud.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.